Hi friends, in this lecture we will read about revolutionary movements, and probably from this lecture itself there will be one question coming this year in the examination. This is extremely important topic, so do listen to it carefully and note down if something important fact I am telling or if something I am highlighting in this lecture. Let's start. Now, the first revolutionary case in India happened in the year 1897 by Chapekar brothers. So, the first political assassination of a British officer in India post 1857 revolt. In 1857 revolt, there were lots of assassination and other revolutionary activities that took place, but after it, till 1897, for the 4 decades there was no such activities. So the Chapekar brothers activity was one of the first revolutionary activity that will start an era of revolutionary movement in India. Two brothers were there, Damodar, Balkrishna, and Vasudev. Three brothers, sorry. So three brothers were there, and they shot W.C. Rand, an ICS, who was chairman of the Special Plague Committee in 1897. So he was shot dead, and Rand's military escort, Lieutenant Ayest, died on the spot, whereas Rand died a few days later due to wounds. So the brothers, why they did so? They were against the atrocities that were committed by the British authorities under Rand during the plague epidemic in Pune. So the government, in order to curb the spread of the epidemic, ended up harassing Indians and employing extreme measures which were racial in nature. So this was the spark point for this assassination. All the three brothers were hanged for the assassination. Next revolutionary movement and revolutionary event that we will see is Alipur bomb conspiracy case 1908. Before going to this movement or this conspiracy, we had to understand that there were three regions, three hotspots of revolutionary movements in India. The first region was Maharashtra, and in Maharashtra, these revolutionary movements were ignited by two main prominent leaders. One was Lokmanya Tilak, and second was Veer Savarkar. Then the second hotspot was West Bengal, and in Bengal per se, there were leaders, prominent leaders like Aurobindo Ghosh, who was igniting it through things like Yugantar, a revolutionary association, Anusilan Samiti, and another prominent leader was Sachindranath Sanyal. So these two leaders were behind these revolutionary activities that were taking place in Bengal. The third hotspot was Punjab, and in Punjab per se, first. In the beginning, the uncle of Shaheed-e-Azam Bhagat Singh, Ajit Singh, was the one who was igniting. Then Lala Hardayal, through his Gadar party and other revolutionary activities, of which Kartar Singh Sarabha was part, Sardar Kartar Singh Sarabha, and then there will be Shaheed-e-Azam Bhagat Singh and all. They will come, and the hotspot Punjab will become the hotspot. So these three were mainly the hotspot of all the revolutionary activities. Now, Alipur bomb conspiracy case was due to the ongoing activities of Yugantar and Anusilan Samiti, who were creating a cadre of youth who was nationalist in nature, and they were ready to take violent means also to raise their voice against oppression that was done by Britishers. It is also called as Murai Pukur conspiracy or Maniktola bomb conspiracy. Maniktola is a famous name. They may use it Maniktola instead of Alipur bomb conspiracy case. So there was Douglas Kingford, who was an unpopular British chief magistrate. He was the target of the bomb thrown at Muzaffarpur, but he didn't die. Okay. Unfortunately, the carriage at which the bomb was targeted contained two English ladies and not Kingsford, and the two women died in the attack. Revolutionary who threw the bomb were Prafulla Chandra Chaki and Khudiram Bose. Both were very, very young. Khudiram Bose was in fact 18 years old. Chaki committed suicide, and Khudiram Bose was hanged. The other people who were tried in this case was Aurobindo Ghosh and his brother Barin Ghosh, along with the Kanai Lal Dutt, Satyendranath Bose, and more than 30 leaders. So the main person who was seen as mastermind was Aurobindo Ghosh. They were all members of the Anushilhan Samiti in Calcutta. Aurobindo Ghosh was acquitted due to lack of evidence, and others served varying life terms in prison. The third case was Curzon Ville assassination, 1909. The Indian House was an organization which was in overseas in London, involved in the freedom struggle of India, mainly engaging Indian students who were studying in UK. And the patrons or the founders of this organization was Syamaji Krishna Verma and Bhikaji Kama. You have to learn all these names. These are extremely important. India House became a kind of again a hotspot or the center of revolutionary activities for Indian independence outside India. The organization was liquidated after the assassination of an army officer Curzon Ville by its member Madan Lal Dhingra in 1909. Again an important name, Madan Lal Dhingra. Another revolutionary movement that will happen is revolutionary case or activity will happen in Howrah gang case in 1910. It is also known as Howrah Shivpur Conspiracy case. In this case, 47 revolutionary associated with the Anushilhan Samiti were arrested and tried for the murder of Inspector Samsul Alam. And Alam was investigating the revolutionary activities of Anushilhan Samiti and was trying to link and consolidate the murders and robberies into a single case. Okay. So the case brought to light the work of revolutionary Jatindranath Mukherjee. Despite attempts, the case could not establish the link, mainly due to the decentralized nature of Samiti. It was not centralized, it was very decentralized organization, Anushilhan Samiti. Of all the accused, only Jatindranath Mukherjee and Narendranath Bhattacharya were sentenced to 1 year imprisonment. Then there will be a big conspiracy case which is known as Delhi Lahore Conspiracy Case 1912. It is big because in this assassination attempt was not on any ICS officer or a chief magistrate but on Viceroy itself. Okay, who was Viceroy? Lord Hardinge was the Viceroy. And these revolutionaries were led by Ras Bihari Bose. Ras Bihari Bose is a very prominent revolutionary leader of India. You all should remember the name. Ras Bihari Bose and Ghosh are different. Ghosh is not a revolutionary per se. He became the president of Indian National Congress. Ras Bihari Bose is different. Ras Bihari Bose will again be involved in all the revolutionary activities. A homemade bomb was thrown into the Viceroy's huda, a kind of he was going into the elephant. आप अगर आप देखोगे तो एक छतरी लगी रहती है and there is a एक elephant होता है, उस पे there is a viceroy and there is a convoy. तो वो हाथी पे जो बैठे थे, a bomb was thrown. ठीक है, क्योंकि एक ceremonial procession चल रहा था because in 1911 coronation हुआ था, Delhi was made capital and George V came. Okay, so all these activities happened. So this was the occasion when the transfer of British capital happened from Calcutta to Delhi. Lord Hardinge was injured while an Indian attendant was killed. Ras Bihari Bose escaped being caught, whereas a few others were convicted for their roles in the conspiracy. There is another important revolutionary movement which is known as Kakori Train Action or Conspiracy Case 1925. So this was a case of train action which was in which a kind of raid was conducted on a train which was carrying all the kinds of wealth looted by Britishers. So the attack was led by the youth of Hindustan Republican Association, which was later renamed by Bhagat Singh and his other leaders as Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. And this movement included revolutionaries like Ram Prasad Bismil, Asfaqullah Khan, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajendra Lahiri, Thakur Roshan Singh, and others. One person was killed during the raid, and the revolutionaries were arrested and tried in court. So Ramprasad Bismil and Lahiri and Roshan Singh were sentenced to death. Others were sentenced to deportation or imprisonment. The other important revolutionary movement that we have to remember is Chittagong Armory raid. Now what will happen is there will be an uprising in Chittagong under a Master Da named Surya Sen. He will start a uprising, and this was an attempt by a revolutionary to raid the police armory and auxiliary forces armory from Chittagong, which is now in Bangladesh. So they were led by Surya Sen, and other prominent names were Ganesh Ghosh, Lokinath Bal, Priti Lata Wadedar, Kalpana Dutt, Ambika Chakrabarti, Subodh Roy. The involvement of women in this movement is noteworthy, that you have to remember. The raiders were not able to locate any arms, but were able to cut telephone, telegraph wires, etc. And Surya Sen hosted the Indian flag at the police armory, and many of the revolutionary involved escaped, but some were caught and tried. The government came brutally and heavily on these revolutionaries, and they were tortured like anything. They were tortured brutally. They were tortured. Surya Sen was sentenced to death by hanging, and he was brutally tortured. So this was another important movement. And all of you are aware of Central Assembly bomb case and Lor Conspiracy case 1931, in which Shahid-e-Azam Bhagat Singh, Batukeshwar Dutt first of all threw a harmless bomb in the Central Assembly. And they also raised the slogans in Inqilab Zindabad, etc., and pamphlets were thrown. So they did not attempt to escape. They just they were arrested, and they surrendered because they wanted to make a kind of notice to these Britishers that if deaf has to hear, the sound has to be large, and whatever you are doing is not just. So all because of this event took place. They were not trying to kill anyone. Bhagat Singh was rearrested in connection with the murder of British police officers J.P. Saunders. This case was called the Lor Conspiracy case, because in background, if you will see, there was a Simon Commission, all-white commission for constitutional reform, having no involvement of Indians. There will be anti-Simon protest in which Lala Lajpat Rai and other leaders will participate. There will be a lathi charge on Lala Lajpat Rai. He will die, and it will be seen as a murder, and Bhagat Singh and others will try to avenge it, and then they will kill J.P. Saunders. Because there is also an interesting thing that Saunders was also killed mistakenly. The real target was another police officer, James Scott, who was responsible for lathi charge that killed Lala Lajpat Rai. Others who were involved in the killings were Sukhdev, Sayyid Rajguru, and Chandrasekhar Azad. They were all members of Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. So, and you all know that what happened is the conditions of prisoners were deplorable. The revolutionary nationalist and other political, the motive was the people who were there were not for any robbery or any raid, and they were treated like anything. They were not given proper food. They were not given anything, and because of that, Shahid-e-Azam Bhagat Singh and others will take fast unto death, and that will be for around more than 100 days, and that will make another great story to inspire for others, and that will be telecasted that will be covered in the newspaper, and the name of Shahid-e-Azam Bhagat Singh will again become big, and he will become a big hero. So that was his activity that he took even inside the jail. And after the trial, all three were sentenced and executed by hanging in March 1931. Chandrasekhar Azad was martyred the same year in February in a gun battle with the police in a park in Allahabad. And some one of the Indian only did a mukhbiri, and he told about the Chandrasekhar Azad is in the is nearby to the British officials, and then they centered they cornered Chandrasekhar Azad. उन्होंने पूरा सराउंड कर लिया. They surrounded the whole park and he was inside, और गोलियां चलाते हैं and everything was done. So he himself shot dead. उन्होंने खुद ही अपने आप को गोली मार ली और इन्होंने उनके हाथों आना पसंद नहीं किया. And he just while he was dying he took a bit of sand in his hand, the soil of India in his hand, and British were so afraid that they were checking कि वो हाथ में कोई बम तो नहीं है, is there any bomb inside hand or not. So that was the fear of Chandrasekhar Azad. So this was the lecture, Revolutionary Movements in India. This is extremely important lecture, and I hope it will be helpful for you. Thank you very much. Take care.